I stood in the doorway of my childhood bedroom, which was then pretty much bare except for a mattress on the floor and a small stack of books in the corner. The walls, once plastered with posters and photos, were now a stark white. This was the beginning of my journey, but I didn't realize then how much it would change not just my life, but the lives of everyone around me. "Sarah, are you sure about this?" Mom asked from behind me, her voice thick with worry. I turned to face her and Dad. Their concerned faces a mix of confusion and disappointment. "Yes, Mom. I've never been more certain about anything." That day, as I explained my decision to embrace minimalism, I saw something shift in my parents' eyes. They didn't understand. How could they? Their whole lives had been about accumulation, about building what they thought was security. But I knew there was another way. As I set off on my travels, working odd jobs and volunteering across the country, I felt free for the first time. But freedom, I would learn, comes with its own kind of weight. 6 months into my journey, crisis struck home. Dad lost his job in a corporate downsizing, and suddenly, the illusion of security that their lifetime of accumulation had built came crashing down. I returned home to find my parents drowning in debt, our house a museum of unused purchases and forgotten dreams. That's when I proposed something radical. Why not try my way? To my surprise, they agreed. What followed was a whirlwind of change. We called it the Great Purge. Mom tearfully parting with her designer clothes, Dad struggling to let go of his prized golf clubs. Our yard sale became the talk of the neighborhood, with Mrs. Peterson, our nosy neighbor, spreading gossip about our financial ruin. I watched Dad swallow his pride and use it as a chance to reevaluate his priorities. Then came the tiny house experiment. For a month, we squeezed into a space no bigger than our old living room. It was chaos. Dad's snoring seemed louder in close quarters, and Mom's cooking experiments filled every inch with pungent aromas. But in that chaos, we found moments of unexpected joy and connection. Our digital detox week was a revelation. Mom discovered a passion for gardening, coaxing life from our neglected backyard. Dad dusted off his old guitar, filling our evenings with off-key but heartfelt music. I saw my parents rediscovering parts of themselves long buried under bills and obligations. Thanksgiving that year was unlike any other. Our minimalist holiday dinner shocked our extended family, sparking heated debates about the true meaning of abundance. As I watched Uncle Pete argue with Dad about the value of stuff, I realized how far we'd come. But our journey was far from over. Dad, once the biggest skeptic, became an unlikely minimalist guru. His blog about transitioning to minimalism in midlife went viral, opening up a world we never expected. Mom, always the creative one, launched a sustainable fashion line, repurposing old clothes into stunning new designs. As proud as I was of their progress, I found myself grappling with guilt. Had I gone too far in upending their lives? This question haunted me, especially when a prestigious tech company offered me a high-paying job. The old Sarah would have jumped at the chance, But now, I found myself torn. In a twist I never saw coming, my parents became the voice of reason, advising me to stay true to my principles. The student had become the teacher, and the teachers were now the students. Our story caught the eye of a documentary filmmaker named David. Suddenly, we were thrust into the spotlight, our every move captured on camera. It forced us to question everything. Were we living authentically, or performing for an audience? As our documentary went viral, we were labeled the face of new minimalism. Book deals, TV shows, product endorsements, opportunities that contradicted everything we now stood for came pouring in. It was tempting, I won't lie. But we knew we had to stay true to our ideals. That's when our story really got interesting. My old friend Alex, now a social media influencer, wanted to collaborate. His glossy, picture-perfect version of minimalism made me question my own understanding of the lifestyle I'd championed. Our neighbor Maria, a struggling single mom, challenged our ideas, pointing out that for many, minimalism wasn't a trendy choice but a daily reality. Her perspective opened our eyes to our own privilege and pushed us to redefine our approach. Uncle Jake thought Dad was having a midlife crisis. He staged an intervention that turned into a family feud, forcing Dad to defend our choices to relatives who thought we'd lost our minds. Mom's sustainable fashion line took off, thanks in part to her passionate intern, Zoe. This young eco-warrior's radical approach clashed with Mom's more moderate stance, leading to heated debates about the true meaning of sustainability. And then there was Sophie. Beautiful, free-spirited Sophie, who lived out of a van and showed me a different side of the minimalist lifestyle. Our romance reignited my wanderlust, creating tension with my parents who feared losing me again. As our influence grew, so did our responsibilities. We formed a community, bringing together neighbors from all walks of life. I spearheaded a co-living project, fighting against outdated zoning laws and narrow-minded residents. Before we knew it, we were speaking at conferences and testifying before Congress. Our simple story had sparked a national debate on consumption and sustainability. It was exhilarating and terrifying all at once. We faced moral dilemmas at every turn. A corporation wanted us to endorse minimalist products. Uncle Jake's business faced an ethical scandal. Zoe's viral protest thrust Mom's fashion line into the spotlight, bringing both acclaim and intense scrutiny. Everything came to a head at a town hall meeting. As I stood there, looking at the faces of everyone our journey had touched, Alex, Maria, Zoe, Sophie, our neighbors, and my parents, I realized something profound. Minimalism wasn't about living with less stuff. It was about making room for what truly matters. Our story doesn't have a neat, tidy ending. Life's too complicated for that. But as I look around at our most recent community festival, celebrating sustainable living and genuine connections, I know we're on the right path. We're not perfect, and we're still figuring things out every day. But we're doing it together, and we're doing it mindfully. Who would have thought that emptying my childhood bedroom would lead to all this? Life's funny that way. Sometimes, you have to let go of everything you thought you wanted to make room for what you really need. And what I've found is that the less I own, the richer my life becomes. This is just the beginning of our story. Who knows where it will take us next? But whatever comes, I know we'll face it with open hearts, open minds, and a lot less baggage, both literally and figuratively.